You are listening to the Conquering Everest podcast, episode 13. Welcome to the Conquering Everest podcast. My name is Brian Talor, and let me just start out by saying thank you. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day here with me. Over the years, I have been very focused in on and passionate about doing whatever I can to eliminate homelessness in this world. Going back to my teen years, late teens, early 20s, I found myself without a home and lived out of my car. I guess very fortunately that only lasted a couple weeks before a good friend invited me in to crash on his couch. And I was able to rebound and get my life going in a direction that I wanted it to go. But there are many, many folks out there that are struggling. And it's hard. Once you've kind of lost everything, it's hard to recover unless you have a support system around you that can give you the essentials and just give you a hand up. And today on Conquering Everest podcast, I was fortunate to grab a little bit of time from Todd Keller. He is the donor relations coordinator with Sweet Home Ministry, and he's also the lead pastor for Point of Change Church. Now, he's been super busy because on February 5th, Friday, February 5th is their biggest fundraising effort called Night in a Car, where it is a homeless simulation. This year they have 80 teams that have signed up, so 80 teams will be sleeping in their car Friday evening, starting Friday evening the 5th, ending at about 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. Now, here in Illinois, it's cold, and I hear that tomorrow's going to be bitterly cold, and I am one of those participants. So I'm going to make sure I have lots of blankets in the car. And I did it last year. It was my first year, and it was not easy to make it through the night. And actually, I had a little bit of a speed bump that you'll hear in this interview here today. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Todd Keller. Todd Keller, welcome to the Conquering Everest podcast.
Thanks, Brian. It's good to be with you.
I know this is a super busy week for you, so I definitely appreciate you being on the show. But I think we've got some important things that we need to talk about and raise awareness for. But before we get into that, since this may be the first time some listeners are getting to know you, would you like to go ahead and tell us who Todd Keller is?
I guess the first thing is I'm a husband of my wife, Kim. Been married since 92, have 3 kids, 21, 18, and 16, Adam, Jillian, and Samuel. And I've been a pastor here in Bloomington, Illinois at Point of Change Church of the Nazarene for the past 8 years, and then was at Bloomington First Church of the Nazarene across town 12 years before that. Been in ministry for almost 30 years. And finished my doctorate of ministry about a year and a half ago. And one of my big goals coming out of that doctorate was I wanted to find a job working with a nonprofit that benefited the city. And so really prayed about that. And the next thing I know, this job came open with Sweet Home Ministries. And as your listeners might know, Sweet Home has been doing great ministry here in Bloomington for over 100 years. And so they had this position of donor relations coordinator. And so I talked to them about that, and it's great. It allows me to continue the work at the church. Plus, I am a professor at Olivet Nazarene University, and plus I get to help here at Sweet Home. And part of the responsibility is to take care of our donors, but then also to be the director for our largest fundraising event called Night in a Car, which is also a homelessness simulation.
Could you tell us a little bit about Sweet Home Ministries? There's a lot of facets to that. Could you go into a little bit of detail about Sweet Home?
Yeah, there is a lot to learn about the ministry that they do here. Of course, we have the ministry to our residents that are meeting here. And we have lovely folks who are here that take care of them in house. They have case managers who really are there to help them get on their feet, whether that be finding housing or education or resources in town. And then we have the staff that make sure that we have meals and that they have warm shelter. But then we also have things like our food co op, which allows people in the community to find really great food and do groceries by opting into the co-op where they volunteer to serve a bit. And so it's much more than just the residential housing that we have. We also are trying to reach out into the community itself.
Well, how many when we talk about the residential housing, how many folks are you guys helping? I know in just that the housing alone.
Yeah, I know that we can have up to 50 or 60. The numbers that we have right now, I'm not positive. I know we're not full right now, which we're always thankful
Yeah.
when we're not full. But that's how many that we could have at any one time.
Well, let's talk a little bit about night in a car. I'm a participant.
Yeah.
Had my first go of it last year after um, I had known about it, and for whatever reason, I didn't participate. But then I finally did get involved last year. But if you would tell us a little bit about night in a car.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to be homeless. One of the biggest ways is what some people might call couch surfing. You find some friends and family and people to kind of live with. You stay with them while you're getting back on your feet. And then there are those who, they do live on the street or in tent communities. But one form of homelessness is really just people and families, couples, even families with children that live out of their car. And it's quite a common form of homelessness. I know when I was in Hawaii for a bit doing some teaching and found out that because the real estate is just so expensive there, that there's a huge percentage of people that live out of their car. And we have that as well in central Illinois. And part of that is you have to endure our incredibly brutal winters. And so,
Hmm.
Night in a Car is really a way for us to help our participants build a little bit of empathy for folks who don't just spend one night in a car, but it's kind of their all of the time experience. And so, you have to think about things like, do I have enough gas in the tank to run the heater tonight? Or where can we go to use the bathroom? Where are we going to park that is safe? What do we do about our meals and showers? And one of the most difficult things is just entertaining your family. What we have heard from folks is just the boredom that can take place, but also just a lack of community. So you can imagine if you had teenagers with you or children or even just yourself trying to spend the time through the night. What do you do to keep the kids entertained? How do you help them with homework? How do you do laundry? Just how do you do life when you don't have a place? And so we've been so pleased with our participants who have said, just going through one night in the cold by yourself really does open your eyes to their experience. And so, Night in a Car is a fundraiser. Our goal is $100,000. We already met that today, which we're thrilled about that. But it's also, again, this simulation. So, we have 80 teams of people. Some are just singles, others are youth groups and college groups and organizations that have come together, and they're going to meet tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Trinity Lutheran Church in Bloomington, and they're going to spend the night in their car. We have the facilities there at the church where they can come in and use the bathroom or grab a cup of coffee. But really, they'll spend the evening. And our folks here at Home Sweet Home have really worked hard to give activity packets and experiences where people really have to think through a lot of the decisions and experiences that those who experience homeless in this way have to make.
Yeah, it's definitely no joke because last year, when I participated, we had went to Trinity Lutheran. We parked, and as we settled down for the evening, and I was like, I'm just determined. I said, I'm not going to run the heater. I want to get through this. I want the full experience. But we did have an iPad with us, so we keep ourselves entertained while we try to drift off to sleep.
Sure.
But for whatever reason, I didn't think about the fact that my battery was going to go dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So middle of the night, it is freezing. I just want a little bit of heat, and I've got a dead battery.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I wanted the full experience, and I think I've got,
You got it.
yeah, I got it. I couldn't imagine had I not been at Trinity where I knew the door was unlocked and I could go in and warm up.
Yeah.
If I was stuck somewhere in town and no, I can't run the car and it's freezing outside. So and it's has a the homelessness has been something that it means a lot to me because I know when my younger years or late teens, early 20s, I had a couple weeks without a home that I lived out of my car. I
Wow.
guess luckily it was during the summer months, so
Yeah.
I didn't have the experience of the winter. But it's definitely no joke. What
Yeah.
is how long have you guys been doing Night in the Car now?
So this will be our fifth year that we've been doing it, and this was our largest goal ever and our largest number of participants. And we're just really thrilled that it's catching on and it's gaining momentum as we go.
Yeah, I think I saw last time I checked social media, we've got 80 teams now.
Yeah, we just had our
Is that
80th team sign up. And it was really interesting because the way this 80th team is participating, they're a family with three young kids, and their son plays the piano. And so they recorded him doing a little piano recital, put it out on Facebook, and encouraged people to go to his Night in a Car team page to donate money. So I thought that was a really creative way to get people to buy in.
Yeah, that's. I'll have to take some tips off of that because that's what I'm out there trying to fundraise, and I think social media. You may get somebody's attention, you may not. So I try to find those creative ways. Unfortunately, I can't play the piano, but I can figure
Yeah.
something out.
Well,
I'm sure.
Brian, one year, one team, Connect Transit, said that if they got their goal, they would shave their head live on Facebook Live. So, I mean, I'll just throw that option out there for you if you want to do that.
Oh man, yeah, that I would have to raise a lot of money. Something people get to know, but I love my hair,
I understand.
and
I'm with you.
but hey, for a good cause, I'd probably be willing to
Yeah,
do
I
it.
know.
How many do you have any statistics on how many people you've been able to Home Ministries been able to help just with Night in the Car alone?
I don't have those numbers. I could get those for you, but Night in a Car is our largest fundraising event, and so it's a huge chunk of our annual budget. And so the people that are being helped are not just the residents, but it does help with things like the food co-op and the counseling that our residents receive. It really does help every feature of the ministry here at Home Sweet Home.
Have you over the last 5 years? Has there been any like I mean, I know there's probably several of feel good stories, but is there have any stories come out of the folks that have received this help that they've gone on and they've been able to change their circumstances? This probably happens quite a bit, but any stories like that that you could share with the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those stories, even from the participants, and I'll kind of start there. There are those who get a taste of working for this type of a ministry, and they join an event like Night in a Car, and then you find out that it really affected them, and it helps change their major, it helps change their focus. A lot of our youth groups and college students, they come out of this knowing, seeing what it's like to help on a greater level. And so it even begins to change the way they think and even a lot of their future goals. And so we've heard a bit of that. Now, when it comes to our residents, my favorite story is a gentleman who went through a time here as a resident and was able to find housing, got on his feet, began to start a DJ business. And right about the time I started with Home Sweet Home in April, he actually had a karaoke night here in the parking lot with our residents, and he was able just to have a fellowship and party with them, which is something that they're hungry for. We're all hungry for it, and they were able to sing. There was some video about that. It was so cool to see. And then he was able to tell them his story, that he was once here too. He was a resident, and to kind of give them some hope. That's one of my favorite stories. there's a family that is just so precious. Here, it's a single mom with some kids, and just to be able to talk to her each day as I see her, and to hear her say how thankful she is that she doesn't have to worry, doesn't have that stress to worry about where are my kids going to sleep and what are they going to eat, and there's a sense of reprieve here and peace as she has the help she needs just to kind of make some choices and put her life together. But it's really special work that we get to do here. You know, the caseworkers and the front desk people, they get to rub shoulders with the residents a whole lot more than I get to do, unfortunately. But the stories that they tell are really wonderful. It's a good work that they do. It's a sacred work that they do. And we really look at it as, you know, we get to be the hands and feet of Jesus to people that really are some of the most vulnerable in our society.
And I would imagine that through that, that outreach, the folks, there's probably quite a few that come to faith, as they get involved with Home Sweet Home, which is just a wonderful thing to hear.
Yeah.
Or to imagine that does happen. I couldn't imagine that it doesn't, that some people aren't truly touched. And the interesting thing, in looking at the Night in the Car website, it's so $1,000 raised will feed, provides what, 1 month of food and shelter for an individual,
Right.
right? So is that still correct? So $100,000. I try to do the math real quick. Well, that's a lot of people. I'm not gonna
It's
try to.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, and you know, it is the food, it is the shelter, but it's the community also. I was walking by the front desk the other day and heard one of our residents really praising our resident assistants who work at the front desk. There's just a whole wonderful team of people, and one of the residents was telling me just how wonderful it is to be greeted each day as they come in, to be taken care of, to have people who know their name and people who are genuinely excited to see them. And we really try to offer the dignity of participation, that every person that walks in the building, that we really see them, as we recognize their humanity. And they really do a good job here at training everyone that comes in contact with our residents to really be a source of hope and to build them up, because we all need that.
One thing that I was kind of amazed at. So this past summer, I did some volunteer work at Abundant Life
Yeah.
Church. They offer the lunches and the dinner, and I love those opportunities when I got to interact with these folks that they're struggling. They not sure where their next meal is going to come from. They've only maybe got a couple pairs of jeans and a couple t-shirts, but a lot of them had a very positive attitude, and they were, they love to have the conversation and joke around and have a laugh. And I was just really surprised that somebody struggling that much would still have this like positive outlook in life, and just trusting that the next day is going to be better. Do you guys have experiences like that with Home Sweet Home? I know you said you don't get to engage as much, but
Yeah, I mean, I get to have two or three conversations each day, and it's exciting. What you're really talking about is hope. And
yeah.
when you're in situations like this, you learn that hope and joy is a basic need, just like food and water and shelter. And people will really clutch on uh, to hope and a laugh, and they really are wanting just to interact with people who see them for who they are. They're not projects to be fixed. They are humans who have needs and wants and desires just like everyone else. And to recognize that and not be afraid to share a moment and just laugh and let them cut loose too. I mean, there's so much worry and anxiety that goes along with being homeless and not having very many resources, not to mention those who are trauma informed because of a difficult past. And when you have all of those worries that you're juggling 24/7, to have that little gift of a smile or a laugh or someone just to take the time to say hi and to talk to you, I mean, it's such a gift, and it's mutually beneficial. It helps everyone involved just to kind of touch each other, notice each other.
Yeah, that's so true because when I was doing over the summer, I had a pretty intense battle with depression
Yeah,
for through 2019 2020, and being able to once I was able to finally get myself to get out of the house and go and help out and interact with these people, like you said, it was mutually beneficial because they provided me with that hope too, because it was hard to be allow myself to be depressed when I see these individuals that are struggling far worse than me, and they still have that good outlook. So that is definitely there isn't a truer statement than that.
yeah,
Do you know let's talk about Bloomington, and of course Normal, I guess we could throw in there as well because Twin Cities. But
yeah.
do you have statistics on what homelessness looks like here in Bloomington?
The thing that's so difficult about getting the hard statistics, and we're actually kind of slow to give those out, is because it really is hard to track.
Yeah.
It's hard to know, especially because of so many people that are couch surfing that go from home to home. It's hard for us to know. And so we do our best from time to time to keep our ear to the ground and to watch. And, we hear from the other social services in town. But we think the safest answer is much more than any of us think.
Yeah. And as far as helping or donating, the donations don't stop on Friday night
Right.
with Night in the Car, which is February 5th, tomorrow night. I would imagine that you guys want to see those donations continue to roll in throughout the year. And if somebody does want to continue to support Home Sweet Home, what is their best way to contact you all to see what they're able to do?
Yeah, I mean, first with Night in a Car, we met the goal. So now from here on out, it's what I call fun giving. People
Mhm.
can just join. If you go to nightinacard.org, we're still collecting money, even though we have met the goal. And you can pick one of our 80 teams to participate in. And what you'll notice is that while several of them have met their goal, there are many who have not. They're still trying to hit their goal for that. And so the money will go well beyond the $100,000, and that benefits the entire ministry. But then you can also donate, beyond Night in a Car, just to the Home Sweet Home Ministries.org. And then if you look on that same website, they post about once a month what our most current needs are. So what are grocery items that we're needing here in the shelter and in the co-op? You can go on and see what those are. And then the other way to contribute is 2 weeks ago we started welcoming our volunteers back because of COVID. We had to kind of shut down the in-house volunteering for quite a while, and now we're able to offer that back, and we're very, very excited. And right there on the website, you can find out how to volunteer and sign up. So there's a lot of ways to contribute.
And bringing up COVID actually kind of sparked another question. So the folks that are receiving help from Home Sweet Home Ministries, do they have access to healthcare?
So some of them do through the city government aid that is provided. And so we do our best to make sure that needs are met and to match them up with services in town that can help them with that. Through COVID, we did have to really take a lot of measures, and we just praise God that we weren't really affected very much, in house. Some of us began to work at home. We had to do screenings just like every other place when people came in, but we have been very, very fortunate here. And even with our giving, it's been amazing how our wonderful donors have really stepped up during this time. And you would think that the finances would be hit. But the truth is, we had many people who were mindful of us. Every single day, they're reaching out, finding out what we need. And many of them, even when they got their checks, were quick to say, God has blessed me. I don't need this. I'm going to give this to Home Sweet Home. And every time we turned around, Brian, we were, again, overwhelmed by the generosity of the people in our city who had their eye on Home Sweet Home, and really just thankful for the Lord's faithfulness.
So, kind of, I don't know if this will put you on the spot. I don't think it will because
Well, we'll
I
see.
believe you have the answer. But somebody's, you know, let's say somebody's listening to this podcast and they're struggling. Maybe they're living in the car, or they're on the verge of homelessness, and they are, I'm sure depression, anxiety, different levels of different emotions are playing through. What would be your words of wisdom for those folks?
Yeah, I think on the very basic level, I would just say you got through yesterday, and I know that wasn't easy, but you did it. And so when it comes to that, you're a success, and you did a good job. And you'll get through the day. Um, there are people who want to help. There are people who want to listen. Home Sweet Home happens to be one of them. And I would encourage you to reach out to see if there's something that we can offer. And I would also encourage you, if it's not Home Sweet Home, to reach out to somebody, somebody that you can talk to. But just know that it is the fact of the matter that you are unique, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. That the Lord has an incredible plan for your life, and there are those who want to help you get connected to hope, who want to see you, who want to talk to you, and you have a lot of reasons to have hope and to not give up and to reach out for those who are here and wanting to be a part of your life.
So I have one last question for you, because I know your time is pretty precious in preparing for all this. But uh, you said you've been married since 1992, so you've got almost 30 years of marriage.
Yeah.
What is the secret?
I think the biggest secret is it's what I call the chair of humility. and and I think that we go into a lot of relationships um, trying to clarify who we are and what our opinion is, but that marriage and friendship gives us an opportunity to choose to be very, very curious about the other person. And it can be very uncomfortable to always try to insert your own power and your own opinion. Um, and I have found that the most comfortable chair in the house is the chair of humility, where you sit joyfully and you say, "What can I do for you?" And you don't betray yourself, but if it occurs to you to do something for the other person, you do it.
If somebody wanted to reach out to you, is do you have social media, or what would be the best way if somebody just wanted to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, Todd Keller on Facebook. Also, my church is Point of Change Church here at Home Sweet Home. My email is tkeller at hshministries.org. And then, of course, if you go through the Home Sweet or the hshministries.org website, you'll see my contact information there as well.
All right. Well, I certainly appreciate your time, and I wanted to get this out there and raise some awareness, and even if for folks that whether you're in Illinois, Bloomington, Normal, or you're in Florida, there's ways to give and ways to help out. So if you're hearing this and you feel moved to do so, please check out Home Sweet Home Ministry. Reach out to Todd. Todd, I thank you, and I guess I will probably see you on the Zoom call tomorrow.
Yeah. And if I can, Brian, just say thank you. Thank you for your support. And just to your listeners, no matter where they are, no matter where you go in every city, you're going to find things that are beautiful. And we have to join in preserving that beauty. But you're also going to find things that are unacceptable. And it's up to us to find a way to stand against the things that are unacceptable, like poverty and homelessness and injustice. And all of us working together can really do those things, preserve the beautiful and stand against the unacceptable.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And when times are not so busy for you, maybe I can have you on the podcast again, and we can talk about get more into Point of Change Church, or Todd Keller himself. I just know time is limited for you right now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Brian.
So many great things being done here in the Bloomington Normal area to combat homelessness and poverty. Wherever you are in this world, I would strongly encourage you to find a way in your community that you can help because homelessness is everywhere, and you may not see it. It may be a hidden part of your community or society. There's people that need your help. And I truly believe the value that we give or we get in our life is a byproduct of what we give. So I would highly encourage you to find a way in your community to help out, or you can contact Home Sweet Home Ministry. Make sure you check out the description here in this episode. I will have all the relevant links for you. Thanks for listening. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on whatever platform you are listening to us on. And if you'd like to leave a comment on this episode, if you download the Podbean application for Android or iOS, you could download Podbean and look up this episode and leave a comment. Tell us what you think, and share your thoughts. But thank you, one and all, for listening. And until next time, be sure that you aim high, be courageous, and do amazing things.